Hi.
And welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to Earth.
Good day.
Welcome to the big show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mr. A, and I just got a really simple question for you today. If 2 to the x equals 8, then what is x? Okay, so go ahead and think about that for a while. And yeah, you got it. If 2 to the x equals 8, then that means that x has got to be equal to 3, right? Because I know from our studies in exponents that 2 to the third power, equals 8. Okay. So easy one next. And what's 2 to the x equals 16? Then what would x have to be there? And yeah, you got it. I also know there that x has got to be 4 because 2 to the 4th is equal to 16. Okay, smarty pants. So then what is, then this one's got to be easy, right? 2 to the x equals 12. So, well, I don't know what 2 to the x equals 12. I don't know what x is if 2 to the x equals 12, but maybe I can reason this out that if 2 to the x equals 8, well, so x is 3. If x is 4, then 2 to the x equals 16. Then 2 to the x equals 12. Why don't we take a guess at what x could be? And so I know that, like in class, when we're sitting in class, a lot of people take a guess and say, let's see what happens if x is 3.5. I mean, it's got to be 3.5 because that's right in the middle there. So I'll go to the Inspire, and let's go ahead and figure out, let's see, 2 raised to the 3.5. I put too many decimals in there. We'll go 1 back and enter. Yeah, that's not exactly what we were hoping for, right? We were hoping for 12, and instead we got 11.3137. And there's probably a lot more decimal places than that, but right now I'm set to have 4 decimal places kicked back to me on the calculator. So the problem that faces us now is how are we going to find that value of x? And I guess we could sit here and just do a lot of this, right? Like, oh, that's too much. Okay, let's try it again. So now let's go with 2.35. Well, it's got to be somewhere between 5 and 6, so 2.351. Okay, not enough. 2 raised to the 3 point, again, I'm hitting the decimal. 3.52. Okay, and we're getting closer. And yeah, we could do that all day because think about it. I mean, if 2 to the 3.5 is 11.3137, I mean 3.5, 11.3137, that means that this decimal right here that I'm looking for could be who knows how many decimal places long, right? I mean, I could be sitting here all day trying to guess, because once I guess, you know, whatever this number in the hundredths place should be, well, then I've got to go to the thousands place and figure if that gets me any closer. So this could take all day. And what we're going to look at now is a way to figure this out. I mean, obviously, I don't want to sit around all day and guess and check my way out of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at something called a logarithm. And this is in Learning Target 7. I can convert between exponential and logarithmic forms of equations. Got a little supplemental practice down there if you need it. And what we want you to be able to do with this learning target is figure out how to take this form right here that we just did. I'll get rid of some of this. And switch it into a form where I can figure out what x is. Because I notice that this is an equation. Let's just focus on this one over here right now, and we'll put the other ones aside. Let's look at 2 to the x equals 12. Now, with 2 to the x equals 12, that's an equation, and I'd like to solve for x, just like with any equation, but the problem is I don't know how to get the x out of there. I mean, yeah, we could try to divide by 2, except this thing happening right here between the x and the 2, that's not multiplication. That's not 2 times x, so I can't undo it with division. I know that we've learned how to get rid of like a second power with a square root, but I can't really, like there's no button that I could push to like take the xth root right? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So what we're going to do now is figure out a way to get that x out of there. And today, like, almost the good news about today is that when you learn to convert into logarithmic form, it's nothing incredibly mathematical, like where we have to understand a lot about the logarithmic stuff. Thankfully, guys that were a lot smarter than me, that lived hundreds of years ago, came up with this stuff. Brilliant mathematicians that figured out some patterns and came up with something called a logarithm. And what they did is they were able to take this equation, 2 to the x equals 12, and convert it into logarithmic form. So what we're going to do is we're going to write log, which stands for logarithm, and then we're going to put a little number down here, the little number 2. And it's almost like, you know how exponents are the little numbers that are written up above? That's called a superscript. These would be a subscript number. So log little 2, kind of down below the g, of the number 12, and that's equal to the exponent x. So what we're trying to do here with this learning target is just take this thing that was right here in exponential form, and let's figure out a way to get it down into this logarithmic form. Okay? So one thing I do want you to understand about this, like you just getting this learning target could be really easy. It could be for you all about memorization, like, you know, like a where do the numbers go game. But I want more than that. I really want you to understand kind of what's happening here. And as we get into the more advanced learning targets with this, you'll be able to understand more about logarithms. But for right now, let's just understand that this thing right here, when I look at log base 2 of 12, that is an exponent. Okay, so when I see log base 2 of 12, that's an exponent. And the way it's written, that kind of makes sense, because look, here's our exponent x, and what is this log equal to? That log's equal to x, which is the exponent. So, well, log base 2 of 12, right? I mean, I still don't know what that is, log base 2 of 12. So let's take this one. I'm going to erase some of this stuff. Let's take this and shift it off to the side for a second. And then let's look at the ones that we do know. Let's look at 2 to the x equals 16.